What's up, YouTubers? This is Mr. Monkey Swag, and look what I got in the mail today. It is the 1 ounce Anubis bar from Monarch Precious Metals. Monarch Precious Metals is very well known for their poured silver bars. So, each of these bars contain 1 ounce of 999 silver, and they each have a unique antique finish, so no two bars look alike. So now I'm going to proceed to talk about the history behind the designs on this bar. On the obverse, you see the Egyptian god Anubis standing with a sarcophagus, which is an Egyptian coffin. So Anubis is depicted as a man with the head of a jackal. A jackal is a species of wild dog native to Africa that is related to wolves and coyotes. So the ancient Egyptians worshipped Anubis as the god of embalming. The ancient Egyptians believed that Anubis taught people how to mummify their corpses. And, if you wonder how the Egyptians created their mummies, here's how they do it. First of all, they dry out the corpse. They dehydrate the corpses with a special salt called natron salt. And after drying out and dehydrating the corpse, they would proceed to remove the vital organs from the body. Yeah, so the Egyptians would remove the vital organs from the body, and they would place those organs in special jars called canopic jars. So right where you see my mouse right here, you see some jars under there. Those are canopic jars. So basically the Egyptians would remove the organs and place them inside those jars. And the Egyptians believed that the heart is the most important organ in the human body. The Egyptians believed that people think through their heart. In contrast, the brain was not considered to be important by the Egyptians. In fact, the Egyptians would get a metal hook and stick that metal hook up inside the corpse's nose to remove the brain. And basically by sticking the hook up into the corpse's nose to remove the brain, they would turn the brain into some type of liquid and just make it leak out the nose. So that's pretty nasty. But yeah. But as I said before, Anubis was the Egyptian god of embalming, and the ancient Egyptians believed that he taught humanity how to mummify corpses. Now let's talk about the reverse design. So, as we all know, many of the world's religions have a concept of an afterlife, of life after death. In Christianity, either you go to heaven or you go to hell. But the Egyptians have a different idea. So the Egyptians believe that when a person dies, everybody goes to hell. And that the deceased person must travel through hell in order to reach the gods and be judged for their sins. And you would see mummies being buried with books called the Book of the Dead. So the Book of the Dead serves as a guidebook for the deceased person to travel through hell. The Book of the Dead, the Book of the Dead helps the deceased person to defend themselves against demons. The Book of the Dead also serves as a map that the deceased person can use to travel around hell. So after the deceased person successfully makes their way through hell, they are to be judged by the gods based on their past sins when they were living. So this scene right here is called the weighing of the heart ceremony. So this image was taken off of the Book of the Dead. So you see this image on the reverse of the bar. This was taken off of the Book of the Dead. So let's talk about the weighing of the heart ceremony. As I said before, the weighing of the heart ceremony is where the gods judge the deceased person based on their sins. So in this scene right here, the gods are judging whether the person should go to hell, or heaven. So here's how it works. So let's talk about the individual gods. So right where you see my mouse is right here, so you see a man with the head of a bird. And this bird is called an Anubis. So you see a man with the head of an Anubis. And this god you see right here is writing on a papyrus scroll. So this is Thoth. Thoth is the god of wisdom. Now let's focus on the other side. So you see a god with the head of a hawk. The name of this god is Horus. Horus is the god of the sky. He is the god of royalty, and he is the god of justice. The Egyptians believed that the pharaoh is a reincarnation of Horus. So this is Horus. And the other side, as I said before, this is Thoth, the god of wisdom. And now, finally, you see Anubis. And you see Anubis, he's crouching down. So Anubis, you see him using a scale. So now let's talk about the weighing of the heart ceremony. So basically, the weighing of the heart ceremony, so the person is being judged for their sins through this scale that you see right here. So on this side of the scale, where my mouse is, you see the deceased person's heart. The heart right here represents all the sins that the person has committed when they were living. So on the other side right here, right next to Anubis, you see a feather. This is the feather of justice. The feather of Ammut. So the Egyptians believed that if the heart outweighs the feather, then the deceased person was sinful. And because the deceased person is sinful, when the heart outweighs the feather, then that person's heart would get eaten by a monster. And this is the monster I'm talking about. So this monster eats the hearts of sinful people. The name of this monster is Ammut. Ammut has the body of a lion and the head of a crocodile. So if a person's heart, which represents their sins, outweighs the feather of justice, then Ammut would eat the heart, and that person would cease to exist. Now let's talk about vice versa. Let's talk about the positives. If the feather of justice outweighs the heart, then that person is a good person. He's a righteous person. And so if the feather of justice outweighs the heart, then that person goes to heaven. And the Egyptians called heaven the fields of paradise. So that's my explanation of the designs of this silver bar. I hope you guys find it entertaining. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace, YouTubers.